Thank you for joining us here on PM Express. And indeed, we have in the last couple of weeks been doing a series with titled Schools of Shame. And it's been raising a number of things wrong with our basic school system. And we're going to spend some time tonight looking at it in a bit more detail and getting some clarity on some of the key issues and seeing with some of the stakeholders how, as a country, we could resolve some of the key issues that we know has bedeviled the education system for quite some time. And one of the things I want to quickly do is to illustrate for you what we have found and been telling you for those who haven't followed. We know that one of the key things that our education system still has in terms of the challenge is basic stuff like furniture for our children to sit on. And we've seen that in according to the GES Northeast region, officials in that part of the country, in the Northeast region, we're talking about 34,290 furniture deficit. So many of these children do not have basic chairs to sit on to learn in their classrooms. One of the things that we've learned. And if you look at the region, again, according to the GES in the Northeast region, giving us the data, out of the 505 schools there, you have a total number of schools without furniture of 350. That's about 69.3%. And then you go to the schools under trees, we have 14.9%. That is 75%. 75 schools there still under trees. That's not all. We've also learned about the challenge with textbooks that were supposed to have been supplied more than 3 years ago. Many of the schools in these remote areas, in some of the districts across the country, still haven't received them, and teachers have been improvising to teach the children. My colleague Jojo Kobana has been doing the series. This is part of what he found.
In September 2019, a new standard-based curriculum will be rolled out from kindergarten to class 6 in primary schools. This curriculum is drawn upon the best practices from all over the world and will focus on making Ghanaian children confident, innovative, creative thinking, digitally literate, well-rounded patriotic citizens.
That statement was made on 20th February 2019, 3 years after the introduction of the new curriculum. Many basic schools operated without textbooks. Many education stakeholders expressed concerns about no textbooks in the classrooms. The Education Minister, Dr. Yao Osei Educhum, was compelled to answer questions in Parliament on why the textbooks had delayed.
We're going to do everything possible to make sure the textbooks are there. That is why this time I was careful not to give you a date, because I know my colleague will come and quote me. But all that I can assure you of is that we're at a critical stage where the quality assurance is being done so that I don't have a situation where some T's are not crossed and I's are not dotted to get into trouble with my honorable colleague. So, Mr. Speaker, all that I can say is that the final stage is what we have done now, quality assurance, and our textbooks are going to be available in the classroom.
In July 2022, the government printed and supplied textbooks to schools. My colleague, Papani Ashali, met the Deputy Education Minister, Reverend Intim Fojo, and asked when all schools will receive the textbooks.
And so we are monitoring and ensuring that the printing, distribution must continue as effective at the speed that we are seeing it now. And we are very optimistic that even before the 90-day period, every school and every child will have the required number of books to support their effective learning. It's an ongoing process. We'll collate all the data and then we will let you know.
That the ministry at this point in time do not know that students or schools that have received...
Don't go on that mischief angle, because that will not be...
No, it's not mischief. You mentioned that some of the students have received the textbooks.
It's a process that is ongoing. We are here at the press house, having seen the production, the packaging and the delivery. And we have given you information of about 60% that have already gone to regions that have also been in the process of being distributed. Some have definitely gone to schools. And we have told you that we will ascertain the particular schools that they've gone.
So we focus on the Kratchi Intramural district of the Oti region. Many teachers found innovative ways of impacting knowledge because they had not received textbooks.
My name is James Asaridia, and this motorcar number 2 DA Primary, Basic 4. I'm the one in charge of this class. There have not been textbooks. In fact, I won't say adequate. There's none. Not even a single textbook to boast of. So at times what we do is you have to go around. When you get a passage, you have to run photocopy of it. You bring it for lesson. And then there are some other subjects that we the teachers, we use our personal money to get some 1-2 textbooks on our own that we are using. So that is how we teach over here.
The new curriculum, we don't have them. You don't have them? Yes, we went for a workshop, all right. But except this particular term, that they brought some few textbooks. And the textbooks only class 1, class 2, and class 3. Few ones. English, only English. We normally write some simple sentences and simple readings on the board for them so that they will copy and they will go home and learn because of the books are not available.
So that's a story. That's just one of them. Tonight we'll get some answers. We've been speaking to the Education Minister. He's granted us an interview and he's addressing some of the challenges that we've seen there. And I must tell you, I am a product of Saito. If you know what Saito is, it's a public school system. And back in the day, we used to run a shift, so that improved. So you go morning, and then the next team will come in the afternoon, right? And they used to tease us. The classroom in which I sat, the classrooms that I gained my education at the basic level, they were not great. I mean, then the JSS, were not great. I remember the classroom floor, was pretty bare, sandy. The roofs leaked, but at least there was still some form of a roof. It was a wooden structure in which we studied. But this is, we're talking about what, 25, 30 years ago. And we're still having challenges. There's been significant progress in some aspects. In other aspects, as you've seen there, challenges still remain. It is only when you shine the light on it that you get attention and you get some solutions to the problem, because some of these schools may be forgotten, right? Some of these schools may be forgotten. I'll be telling you some of the results we are getting on the back of shining a light on some of these schools. Some of these districts are now getting attention, that some of the textbooks are going, some of the chairs are now going because there's some attention there. And there have been attempts to solve this in the past, right? In 2021, for example, the VACO Trust Fund launched a program with the Ghana Education Service to remove about 5,403 schools from under trees. So that was an attempt in conjunction with the GES. The amount budgeted for this was 3.5 billion. This is a lot of money. Some 17 schools were built so far. The website was launched to track the progress of the project. We checked it, isn't working. So the tracking isn't happening because we don't know this. And this is, by the way, according to the GES, that tells us that we checked that website and this is what we found. Access by 3 different devices showed that the website is just not working. So you can track the progress that has been made in this. This is, education must be dear to everybody's heart. We all have children. We've been in school. I went to a Saito, so I know what I'm talking about. The challenge of studying in such dilapidated structures with very little resources is tremendous. It's when I stepped into a senior high school where I then had, students coming from very well endowed schools. Back in the day, it was Morning Star, etc. in the classroom. Then I realized how far behind I was, and I had to catch up. In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is always keen. I thought I was keen in my school until I got into senior high school and started competing with people who I had not seen the library before until I got into senior high school first year, right? So that is just a challenge, and that if you've been through that system, when you see what is happening and children still going through that, you have to feel passionate to get some answers. And thankfully, the minister has been speaking. We're getting a bit more attention. There's a discussion going on. We'll try and explore what it will take in a sustainable way to get this fixed. Often, when the media shines a light and we move on to other things, the politicians just go to sleep. I mean, the textbook is a classic case, right? The promises have been made over and over again. It hasn't been delivered. Where are the textbooks? Some of which are there. Some of it is because of distribution. If you shine a light on these, forgotten areas, then the authorities get to know, and then they move it there. That's why this is important. After the break, we'll hear from the minister, and then the other stakeholders will join us to explore for what it will take to fix this broken system. Stay with us. And thanks for staying with us. As I indicated earlier, my stakeholders have joined me in the studio now. With me in the studio is Festus Longmate, is the National Programs Manager at the Ghana National Education Campaign Coalition. He joins us in the studio. We'll be joined by Reverend Isaac Owusu, who is the National President of the Ghana National Association of Teachers. Jojo Kobna has been working on that project and is with me in the studio. He has an update on what has happened to some of the districts that he visited and found students, pupils under trees and without textbooks. Thankfully today, the Education Minister agreed to sit down with us and provide some answers to what Jojo had found. My colleague Benis Abubedu-Lansa asked the questions.
Never stop distributing furniture across the country. Furniture has been distributed
evenly?
Oh, yes. Some places have more challenges than others, so you can understand. But we have distributed furniture across the country. Mm-hmm. As I speak with you tomorrow, about 5,000 pieces of furniture is going to Pandai.
Okay.
It will be loading tomorrow, heading to some of the areas that have serious challenges.
Was this after the documentary, or you were aware of the Pandai situation? I mean,
you highlighted it, and I agree with you that when you highlight a problem, we should solve them. So I'm a fixer. So when you highlight a problem, I'll go and I'll solve them.
Are your people in the chain, i.e., there's an MC there, there's a district director of education.
It's going through the regional director, who, when I spoke with, had just returned from Pandai, and he's liaising with the MC and the district director through the head teachers. So they are doing their compilation as to where the challenges are, because obviously it's not every school.
Right.
So what they are doing now is they are doing the compilation. So by the time it hits there, the regional minister will be there, and they will look at their list and distribute it to the schools that need the help. So there's a plan, and they will be able to help schools that need it. Obviously, there are some schools that may not need the help.
Would you say they are proactive enough in solving this problem? Because they are your reps there. Of course, your eyes can be everywhere. Would it have been solved earlier if it had been brought to your attention?
I'll tell you this. I grew up in a very poor part of town, right? When you talk about empathy for those who are less privileged, I think one of the people that will be more empathetic than anybody, I would want to see children sleeping on the floor and writing. I want them to have opportunity that I have today. Even though I grew up very poor, I want them to see Dr. Duchum as somebody that they can be like, or even become better than. And under that circumstances, I want to make sure that that situation is not repeated anywhere in the country. So we're looking at all means possible to ensure that no child go to school and have to sit on the floor or lie down to write. It is not right, and we'll do everything possible to stop it. We have various scenarios that we are looking at in terms of, we have technical colleges and technical schools that do carpentry. And we're working with, now we are approaching Forestry Commission to look at how we can get wood for them so that we can truly solve the problem once and for all. I believe in solving problems. I don't believe in so much about disputing, and no, that is not me. You see, how people took my statement out of context. It was amazing when I saw that they took the statement and then photoshopped it into...
Rather...
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. And photo to make it appear that I was saying that those schools were schools of fame. How would I say that?
You actually meant the kids who were sitting in front of you?
No. No. Yes. I meant the kids Odara Basic School and what they had accomplished. And I said, these are schools of fame. You've done so well. Look at Wadara. Wadara, the name is Wadara Barracks in Kumasi. And they are a public basic school. And I really want to commend you. I found out later that the G-Step program is fully sponsored in terms of media, sponsored by JoyNews. And you've done an excellent job supporting my brother from Dream Over in making this a world-class exhibition and competition. I was referring to Wadara. I was referring to a number of students from Greater Accra region who participated in the exhibition and gave me hope that the better days of this country is ahead of us and not behind us.
So how are we hoping to, beyond giving furniture to schools in deprived communities in the country, how are we hoping to make them also schools of fame?
One, we have to look at infrastructure in terms of the building. And I'm so grateful to the Arab Development Bank for the funding that they've provided for us to build some schools across the country. It gives me such a great pleasure looking at where the construction is and how it's going. And I've actually talked to one friend of mine who works at Joy that I want to take Joy on to go and see these facilities and shine some light on those new facilities under construction.
The other thing about the schools of shame is the provision of textbooks for the new curriculum. And this is the other thing, Doc. Fantastic ideas, the people say. Brilliant projects, poor execution. Since 2019, we introduced this new curriculum. We've had promises upon promises, and they say, how do you expect us as teachers to execute our mandate? We do not have the textbooks. So far, we heard from the president of NAT that only 3 textbooks have been provided across the board.
The last time I checked, it was 4 core textbooks.
Okay.
And I think the 5th one has also been procured. You see, the thing is this.
Didn't we put the cart?
No, not really.
Didn't we put the cart before the horse then?
No, no. You see, it is a different approach. In the past, we have not focused on one-to-one curriculum procurement. So invariably, you're going to have 2 students sharing a book. We decided that it should rather be one-to-one. So it takes more effort to do one-to-one textbook deployment.
But were you ready for that? 2019 to 2023, that's 4 solid years.
But the books went in 2022, so don't add the 1 year for me.
Okay, 3 solid years. That's enough time. That's enough time that's enough time for a child to grow, walk, and run.
You see, the interesting thing about this is that we as a country, unlike other countries, decided that we'll allow the private sector to develop the textbooks. So we want to allow the private sector. See, let me tell you this. In the old system, where the ministry had writers, right? And they were writing to such a shorter period of time to get textbooks in all classrooms.
So clearly that was a better system, is that not it?
In terms of the speed, but I also have a philosophical understanding that was developed over the years that the private sector should be allowed to develop in the book industry. That is not to say that this could not have been done faster. So I'll concede that in the future, this has taught us some useful lessons that you really have to fast track a lot of things to make sure, even if it's private sector development, you can shorten the procurement and other processes so it doesn't drag on forever. So yes, I'll concede. But you also know that they develop what they call learner packs for the teachers. for the first 2 years before the third year came and textbooks started going. So it's not as if nothing at all was given to the teacher. And if you talk to the teachers, they will tell you that there's something called learner packs, materials of activities, exercises that were developed for teachers to use in their various classrooms. But from where I said, I concede that we should do a better job in terms of fast tracking, so you don't have that missing link and gaps in terms of new curricula and then deployment of textbooks. So I agree that we could do a better job.
How long do we have to wait for the rest of the textbooks to be released and given to these?
Oh no, we are going through the procurement processes now. So I'll update you.
That is the Education Minister there. Festus is with me. He's a National Programs Manager, the Ghana National Campaign Coalition, Jojo Kabana, who did the work. He's also with me in the studio. Festus, let me start with you. So that last answer there, I guess, is what the thousands of children and the teachers across the country want to hear. When are we going to get the full complement of textbooks? He says he will update us. So what it meant is, as of this afternoon when we're doing this interview, the minister doesn't know yet when the full complement will come. What's your reaction to that? We'll start from that last bit, the textbooks question, and we'll come to the challenge with the chairs, right? What's your comment on the textbook situation?
For us as a coalition, it is unfortunate that as of now, schools still don't have.
And by the way, I must say, this is just an excerpt from a more complete interview that will be played on the AM show. So you need to watch that because it puts it in a bigger context for you to listen to the minister. He addresses other things. So tomorrow at 7:30 AM, just make a date with my colleagues on the AM show, Benes Abubedu Lansa and Benjamin Akakbo, as they explore this in greater depth. You can watch the entire interview with Educhum addressing all the key questions in education. I must note, though, I know many of you had expected that he will talk about the CSS-PS. Join Benes tomorrow, and you can get a lot of the details of that. Yes, you're going into that.
Yeah, so Evans, thanks for the opportunity. Let me first of all say good evening to you and your team, and also congratulate yourself and your team for the good work that you are doing to promote quality education in this country. Yes, to start with, before I come to your specific question, let me first of all say that as a country, we have assigned to a lot of international laws and treaties to promote education for all. Coming down to this country, as a country, we have also passed laws, including the Children's Act 560 and other laws to ensure that we provide quality education for our children. The 1992 Constitution, for instance, when you look at Article 38, subsection 2 of the Constitution, it guarantees free, compulsory, universal basic education for all. So this affirms the fact that basic education is very important, it's very key when it comes to human capital development of every country. Now, there's no society that can survive without children. So there is the need for us to ensure that we protect our children. And if we talk about education as a right as provided in the Constitution, then, of course, education is a fundamental right that no child must be denied of that right. As a result of that, there's no child that must be denied development. Every child must be given the opportunity to go through a holistic developmental process. We have the responsibility as a country to ensure that every child in this country survives and grows to become who that child is destined to become. We have the right to make sure that children are given the voice. They are not discriminated against. So we ensure that we give them equal opportunities, and above all, we protect our children to ensure that they are not exposed to any form of violence, which includes denying their right to quality education. Now, when it comes to the issue of textbooks, for 3 years now, we have come out with a new standard-based curriculum. We all expect that at least this should go with, a corresponding teaching and learning materials for teachers to be able to teach our children in pursuit of delivering the kind of quality education that we want. It is unfortunate that we should hear from our minister that we still have a lot of the textbooks not going. Now, as a coalition, we have also, anything we do, we try to gather evidence on the ground. So as we speak right now, currently, our people are on the ground collecting data, information, to verify whether really schools have received textbooks. So far, information reaching us so far indicates that no school so far entered have received any form of textbook. We are doing this in about 6 regions across the country. Greater Accra inclusive. We have the Central region. We have the Savannah region, Bono East, and the Ashanti regions. Now, so far, they are still collecting the data, but the data we have collected so far indicates that it reveals that no school so far have received any textbook.
As in, they have some or they don't have at all?
They don't have at all. No school entered so far have a textbook. It is only in one school that there is an indication that some textbooks have arrived at the district education office, but those textbooks are yet to be supplied to the schools. So clearly, there is a challenge, and this actually needs to be fixed and fixed as early as we can.
Jojo, you went to, as far as the textbooks are concerned, that's why you went to Krachi in Chumuru?
Yes, Krachi in
Chumuru. I heard the teacher in the clip you played say they don't have any at all. That's also what you found?
Yes. Quite a number of schools. I went to Motoka DA, Motoka 1, Motoka 2, DA primary school. I was in Dodiokope. And then one in Brian Kwantap. They didn't have.
At all?
At all.
Zero new textbooks?
You heard
the teacher say yes?
Yeah, they didn't.
Okay.
But fortunately, they got the textbooks. The ministry went.
When was this?
It was just, I was told that just within 2 weeks, the last 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, they got some textbooks, and the people are happy. They got 3 sets of different subjects, creative arts, English, and then science. And so these are the textbooks that they have so far. Okay. But it's a major challenge. And what is very interesting, if you look at the JHS, what is very critical, JHS2, people on JHS2, they will be the first people to write this new curriculum, BECE. They don't have the learners pack. Even teachers don't have the learners pack.
The minister says they give them learners pack.
So let me just run you through. I'm mentioning the schools. We have Dendo DA, we have Wanado, we have Bejamse, we have Chinderi Pentecost, we have Zongo Macheri, and with them, no curriculum, no pupil textbooks, no teacher guides, etc. for the current JHS2. So these are areas that have.
So let's slow this down a bit. The minister himself says, yes, we have procurement challenge with the textbooks. Our only saving grace is the teacher packs. So that's how they improvise with the teacher packs. So, and you're saying that even that in the places you mentioned, they don't have teacher packs.
They don't have, and this information is, I cross-checked this information before we came on air.
So how are they teaching in the short clip you played? That teacher said he also didn't have the teacher pack.
Yeah.
He says he goes online or finds somewhere, and then they'll do a photocopy of a sort.
They print, and then they come to the class, and then they teach them. So if there's a passage that the children would have to read, that one depends on how creative a teacher will be, or how well their teacher will be, whether the teacher will even tell the students, oh, let's photocopy this, and then they photocopy, and then that's how they learn. So it's a problem. When the teacher packs will at least give them the guidelines. Some even tell you that they download them. They go and buy it. They go to other schools to pick other schools that have it. So, for example, this is the OT region. So one lady that we spoke to said, oh, I went to the Volta region, crossed over to the Volta region. I have friends there who belong to, who are in some schools. And so I told them to photocopy some portions for me. And that is how come I'm conducting lessons in my class. So it's like teachers are finding a way around the situation, and this shouldn't be the situation. But unfortunately,
that's the situation. Thankfully, the biggest teachers union we have in this country, the president of that association, Reverend Isaac Owusu, joins us now. Hello, Reverend.
Evans.
Yes, how are you, sir?
Not bad. Yourself?
Well, we are coping. I mean, for those of us who went to Saito and experienced the challenges you're talking about, anytime I'm talking about this and, 30 years on, children are still enduring the same challenge, it hits home. It touches a particular nerve, nearly gets you emotional. Because the challenges that you had to endure just to, catch up with the rest of your colleagues who are, when you get into the senior high school and you see those who are coming from, well-endowed schools, then you see, Charlie, you are really, really far behind. Let me ask you about the textbooks. What is the situation with the textbooks? The minister just told us that admits the problem with the procurement. As of today, he's saying that, he will update on when the full complement will come. What is the picture when it comes to the full complement? How many schools, do majority of schools have part delivery? Or are you getting situations where, vast areas don't have at all? What's the picture?
Well, Evans, thank you very much for the opportunity. And let me say a very good evening to your cherished viewers. And also good evening to my colleague panel members in the studio. And let me also admit that I am a Saito product.
Oh, great. The Saito, proud Saito graduates.
Yes, we are in it together.
Yes, we are.
Evans, you see, I am happy the minister has admitted that yes, they are not doing well when it comes to the issue of the textbooks. Last year we had engagement, and the minister said he has given the publishers 120 days to finish publication in all the subjects. And as I'm talking to you, we have only 3 textbooks: integrated science, English language, and creative arts. So, and even these books, the challenge is that when it gets to the region, the district do not have money to convey the books from the regional level to the district level. So that is why even the 3 textbooks, some schools don't have.
Although it may be at the regional level.
Yes. That is the challenge. And you see, even some of us are advocating that. It looks as if the policy formulators and key stakeholders, when it comes to public basic schools, all those who are in charge, majority do not believe in the basic education system. Because the reason is simple. These people do not have their children in these public schools. If you are a DC, you are the head of DIOC, District Education Oversight Committee. You are the chairman. And let's ask ourselves, how many DCs or MCs have their children or grandchildren in these public basic schools? We have the minister. We have the directors. Even we have head of schools, heads of public schools. Their children are not in public school. So how then do we fight for textbooks? Because you can't understand the reason why since 2019, about 153,000 teachers were given training for 2 weeks. And at that meeting, they were told that go and discard the old curriculum together with the textbooks. And we are giving you new textbooks because with the standard base, the child is at the center of the lesson delivery. You, the teacher, you are only acting as a facilitator to guide the child. And the textbook is a very important reference material. When a teacher, I deliver, the child will have to go home using the textbook as a reference material to be able to perform the assignment given to the child. So if the teacher was given a resource pack, the resource pack are not textbooks. They are only material that was supposed to guide the teacher to understand the standard-based curriculum. The textbooks comes along with a teacher's guide. If you take creative arts, the teacher want to be given a teacher's guide on creative art that try to explain the textbooks. So these things are not available. And close to 3 years now. And you see, the irony is that if we cannot produce a single textbook, and now we feel that we can give iPad to over 1.2 million students in the secondary school, is it that because they are eligible to vote? I think we need to be serious as a country, because you cannot build when your foundation is very weak. And it is my prayer that the parents whose children are in this public school, who have a social contract with the government, will begin to speak up. The government should be responsible. Because I mean, my children, over 7-8 million children, who do not have textbooks. Now, this kid who started the new curriculum, they are in JHS2 now. We don't even know whether they are going to write WIEC, BEC, or there is a new program for them. This is a serious issue. And so the minister admitting is good, but we need to see him say more. Because we can't continue lamenting every day. It's not good for us.
Yeah. I mean, Mr. Wusu, please stay with me. And that picture is pretty heartbreaking. But the textbooks, we are in such a technological era. Textbooks before they are printed are in soft copies. All these textbooks that we need, they're in soft copies. There was a huge controversy about laptops to teachers. So the laptops were gone to teachers. I mean, the question about whether the laptops were good or not, but some laptops. Why can't we explore creative ways of simply downloading the soft copies onto laptops for the teachers, or they have phones that they can use? In your case, the teacher says they have to go and photocopy, find the book and photocopy one page and come. Meanwhile, somebody can sit in Accra in PDF form and just WhatsApp all the textbooks. Is that not possible?
Fact, some of the data collected by our members on the ground, for instance, indicates that most of the teachers go to the internet to try to download content before they are able to engage in teaching and learning.
Yeah.
But most of them too are in areas that
they don't have that's true.
Strong internet connectivity. So there is still a challenge for them to even be able to access this information online, to be able to impact into our children. You see, so we have a lot of challenge. This, like you are just advising, I think that this is just something that could have been done.
Yeah, but the teachers, even in those communities, those teachers, they'll have WhatsApp on their phones.
No, but Evans,
right?
Remember when we were in school?
Yeah.
The English comprehension. We have to read. Mr. Kuma has 3 children. That is the photocopy that they photocopy to the children. Because with that one, how many phones do you have to give to the children?
Of course.
Exactly.
So, I mean, for the teacher, at least, so that you write on the board.
Yes.
You can get a pupil to come to the board and then write the passage. It happens. So, but you want to Saito. I want to Saito. You have to improvise.
Yes. Of course, they have been able to. I mean, develop their own initiative.
So come onto the board. Get one pupil. You write the passage, and then sometimes that passage is on the board for 1 week.
That is the point. The point I'm making is that yes. So they write on the board. Do you know how long it takes to write on the board?
I get it, but
so that's what they are doing.
It was done.
The thing is that is exactly what they are doing, and you were in Saito.
No, it's not their fault. I'm just talking about improvising from the national level.
That is exactly what they have been doing.
Who have the teachers on the ground are doing brilliant work. They are finding creative ways to solve the problem. But of course, there are copyright issues with sending the material. But the state has bought that copyright. Have we not? With the textbooks, and they are printing to send. So why are you waiting? You can't find procurement to. Meanwhile, the thing can be easily easily be. Anyway, maybe I am. Maybe I'm oversimplifying the problem. Maybe I am oversimplifying
they can
the
actually
problem.
do that, like the JHS2. They can actually send them.
Yeah, but so that's the point, right? So those teachers who don't have the Learners Pack 2, how is that excusable? It's not the teacher. I'm not questioning the teachers. I'm just saying that for the authorities, the education minister is saying our fallback plan is
Learners Pack,
and you found that teachers don't have the Learners Pack 2.
Now, even those that have the Learners Pack, that's their resource pack, they don't have much information. It's not as detailed as if there should be a textbook available for them.
You're right. That's what Reverend Owusu was talking about.
Exactly. So that would not be enough to be able to, properly impacting the children. So for us as a coalition, we have issues. We did an independent CSO audit of school infrastructure. And to surprise you that in about 30 schools that we visited, in 6 districts across 3 regions, there is none of the schools that we visited have a science laboratory. We have about 70% of the schools that we visited not having an ICT laboratory.
You've just brought me to my next big topic, because with schools, the children don't have chairs, right? They don't have chairs to sit on. They don't have a roof over their head. So you can imagine, as a science lab, they are a million years away from a science lab. Jojo, let's talk about that. Since you did that piece about schools without, the chairs, and the minister talks about tomorrow,
they're loading furniture.
Yeah, thousands. Is it 5,000?
5,000. What's interesting, on News Night.
And Tukpandai, right?
Tukpandai.
The same district that you found, and he credits you for, you highlighted the problem, and so he's solving it. He's a fixer. I mean, but there's been more interventions, right?
Yeah, before. You remember on News Night, the PRO for the ministry said they were sending 7,000. Now the minister is saying he's sending 5,000. So I'm actually wondering where the two.
I'll take the minister's word for it. I mean, he's the ultimate. Maybe they intended to take 7,000, and I'll take it.
Way bigger than that, because Krachi and Chimuru also needs 7,000. The DCE confirmed it, 7,000 furniture. Now we have Northeast 34,290 more, and these are just some 3 regions that I just focused on. And in the OT region, it's just Krachi and Chimuru that I focused on. They are very, very deplorable districts. I have not even focused on in Quantine. All those, they have similar issues. So the issue is not like, this is just a drop in the ocean. Because 34,000 Northeast alone, we have not even touched on Savannah. We've not touched on the northern region, the entire northern region. We've not touched on Upper East. We've not touched on Upper West. Western North, we've not touched on it. Even Greater Accra, we have schools. And that is the new, series that will come on Tuesday, where in Greater Accra, we even have children without furniture.
Yeah, I went to a Taiso in Greater Accra region. In the heart of Greater Accra.
The heart of Greater Accra.
Yes. Adabraka. Heart. This is just here. So anyway, but that's a problem, right? Yeah. Basic infrastructure, right? No roof, no chairs, children on the floor. You've been doing a lot of work in this area. You talk about the science labs. I mean, the science labs is like, is a big. This is very basic stuff that the kids don't have.
It is. Most of the schools that we visited across the country also reveals the situation that my brother is just talking about. A lot of them lack infrastructure, basic infrastructure, for students to comfortably engage in teaching and learning with their teachers. When you go to, just yesterday, for instance, I'm yet to follow up on a case where there is this mom who is complaining of not being able to send her two children to school because of lack of furniture for the children to use in the school. Yeah. So the school, basically, they are refusing to admit these children just for the fact that they don't have furniture to accommodate these children.
But by the way, that's a very powerful story. The school is admitting refusing to admit?
The school is refusing to admit because there is no furniture to accommodate these two children.
Okay.
And they are asking the mother of these children to provide the furniture. And this is someone who also doesn't have the means to even be able to, support her children with acquiring the furniture for them. So basically, these children are being denied education through no fault of theirs.
You know why this strikes me very hard? Because I remember back in the day, and I keep talking about my side too, we used to carry the chairs. We used to carry the chairs from our home to the school. I'm not kidding. I mean, you have to carry, so when you're going to school, apart from there's some T-board, I forgot what it's called.
Technical drawing board.
Board, yes.
Yeah, that's it.
That you have to get
square.
exactly the T-square, like they will do for you. You also have to get your parents to get a carpenter to get you your own chair. So you carry it, and then you go and put it there, and it's yours. Right? I don't know what happened.
Vacation, then you
carry it back. Yes. So you're saying that in 2023,
we still have a situation like that where schools don't have furniture and parents are asked to bring their own furniture. And because they can't afford to provide the furniture, these children are home.
Okay. Give me the big picture here. How do we resolve that? Is it resource distribution challenges? Or with the resources simply not there? Are we lopsided in focusing where to put the resources that we have? What is the problem?
You see, for us, we think that we are focusing so much at the secondary school level and neglecting the basic. Okay. Meanwhile, basic, we need to build a foundation to be able to feed the senior secondary school level. But we have neglected the basic level. As we speak right now, we have over 1.2 million children who are not attending school. Out of these 1.2 million children, we have about almost 1 million children who have never attended school in this country, as we speak. When you go to the Savannah region, for instance, we have about 43.2 children of school-going age. Sorry, we have 43.2% of children of school-going age who have never attended school.
And the problem is, why is that? Is it because we're over-focusing on senior to a neglect of basic?
One, we are over-focusing on the senior the SHS level. Two, we don't have enough infrastructure at the basic level to accommodate all these numbers. Remember, for instance, in the dental municipality, research was conducted and we realized that there are a lot of schools where we have classrooms that are overcrowded. So if we have a particular school in a community, and this is the school that children could access, and these children go to the school and the classroom is already overcrowded, then automatically this child will not get space.
Yeah. I mean, let me wrap up with Reverend Usman. Reverend, on that question of the lack of, chairs, etc., what's and the focus on the SHS and neglect of the basic? What's the NAT's view on how this can be resolved? This problem with schools under trees, schools without chairs, etc. Very briefly for me, please.
Yes, this challenge can be resolved by making sure that the distribution that the GES and the Ministry of Education does, they cater for the basic school first. You see, now the head teachers at the basic schools are suffering. Capitation grant doesn't even come. And here is the case that the parents do not even have money to buy a common textbook for their children. So you ask yourself, how are the heads running the school? If you go and collect one CD2, the same GES will hold you accountable and demote you. You remember last year, about 110 head teachers in Greater Accra were demoted just because they've gone to collect a printing fee. When it is the duty of the GES to make sure that they print questions papers for these students. You see, Evans, we shouldn't allow our political interest to override the national interest. when it comes to secondary school, why is it that we don't rush our children in private secondary school, but rather all of us are interested in sending our children in public secondary school? It means that because we feel that that place, the children there are over 18 years, and because those are duty bearers, their children are there. The minister's son is in Infantry. The judges, the magistrates, the journalists, all their children are in this school. So when there is no furniture, they will come together and procure furniture for the children. But when it comes to the public school, the director of education child is not in the school. The DCE child is not in the school. The police inspector in the district, his or her child is not in the school. It is these poor farmers who can afford maybe 5 CDs a month or a week, their children in the school. But these are the people who are feeding the nation. And agenda, I know the Millennium Development Goal for 2030 is just around the corner. By 2030, we are expecting all school-going children to be in school. And here is the case, we have over 1.2 million children who do not have access to school.
Yeah, I mean, you made a point, and I think you've repeated again about the duty bearers, the politicians, the policymakers, they don't have their children in these schools. Will not advocate a policy that compels the policymakers, the duty bearers, to compulsorily, if they have children in school-going age, send them to the public schools?
I think that is the way forward. Because elsewhere, if you go to Finland, if you're a public sector worker, your child will be in public school. So that is the way forward to go. And we'll take it up. And make sure that our parliamentarians do the needful, and making sure that at least if you are a minister, a director, and you don't have your ward in the public school, can you imagine a director's son lying on the floor writing?
No, I can't.
You cannot imagine. Imagine that a director of education, the son or the grandson is lying on the floor. Children find themselves in a various districts. And they have a district. So the director, the assembly members there, would they send their children to go and lie on the floor? The central government cannot do it alone. That is what we have to understand, that education is very expensive.
Yeah.
But if you want to politicize education, then we will not go anywhere. Education is very, very expensive. So we need all hands on deck.
Yeah.
The government should allow parents to come in to support.
Reverend Isaac Owusu, thank you very much. And Jojo, the next one is focusing on
Accra.
Okay.
Schools of Shame, Accra. Because
let me take you to my
hood. This one, I'm not going to reveal the because when I reveal it,
yeah, things will happen. When is it airing?
On Tuesday.
On Tuesday. Thank you very much. Grateful that you joined us with your thoughts. Jojo will look out for that. Reverend Owusu, I'm grateful. Enjoy the rest of your evening.